For some weird reason, my mother-in-law really wants to go into our bedroom whenever she comes over. On one occasion, I followed her as she went upstairs. I was going to get something for my child as the bedrooms are upstairs, and she walked past the bedroom on the main floor and up the stairs behind it. She didn't hear me, and I caught her walking straight into my room and rifling through bills on my dresser. She denied snooping, even though I had just watched her do it, and she said she was just going to use our bathroom because she couldn't find the other ones. She walked right past the one on the main floor and the other one in the upstairs hallway to go into our bedroom. Since that happened, I installed an exterior doorknob that requires a key on our bedroom door and one to the door to our office and spare bedroom. However, she's still always forgetting where the bathroom is and trying the bedroom and office door. This really ticks me off. My husband says that I just get annoyed at this because everything she does drives me crazy, and since we've put locks on the rooms we don't want her in, there really isn't a problem anymore. Well, over the holidays we had my in-laws over for dinner, and before they came I was searching for the bedroom keys. We hadn't used them in a while since we only lock the doors when my mother-in-law comes over. My husband told me that we didn't need to lock the doors since she wouldn't try to get into the rooms, and I insisted that she would because she loves to snoop. We went back and forth and decided to cover the doorknobs in super fine glitter to see if she'd try them. I did this once before, but my husband didn't believe me about that snooping to prove that she'd been in the rooms. Last time she ignored the glitter and we didn't say anything about it, but then my husband couldn't deny that she tried to snoop. So this time I covered the knobs in glitter, and for the office went a touch further and rigged a little folder of glitter over the door to the office before the in-laws came over. I left it one side unlocked, French doors, and it was set so if you walked into the room you would get covered in glitter. My husband goes out of his way to show his mom the main floor bathroom when they got here and specifically ask his parents and sister not to go upstairs. There's a baby gate so the kids can't get upstairs either. Well, guess who had to go to the bathroom and got covered in glitter and had it all over their hands and hair? She completely lost it and started screaming at me, so I yelled back, and now my husband is saying I went too far and that I'm an asshole. My mother-in-law also says that I'm an asshole, but my sister-in-law says I didn't do anything wrong and my mother-in-law deserved it for snooping. My father-in-law is Switzerland. Apparently her car is ruined now too because it's covered in glitter that she can't get cleaned up. Am I the asshole for setting a glitter trap to catch my mother-in-law trying to snoop?
Story time about how I got stuck in an elevator with my ex and we ended up doing the dirty. My ex and I broke up in 2020 during COVID. Our relationship was really toxic. You know, the usual. He was super controlling, jealous. He would try to control everything I did, who I would hang out with, and he even envied my career. After dating for 6 months, I told him that we should reevaluate our relationship. I actually had no intention of breaking up with him. I literally just wanted us to sit down and talk about our relationship, talk about what we wanted for it, and if we could see ourselves together in the future. Well, he took this as me saying that I wanted to be with other guys, so he instantly broke up with me and gave me no chance to talk. He told me I wasted his time, and that he had rejected really hot girls in order to stay faithful to me. I knew this was a sign that we shouldn't be together, so I simply let him leave. A few days after that, he started sending me messages on Instagram asking me why I was going out. I told him he needed to remember that he was the one that broke up with me, and that he had no right to ask me anymore what I was doing or who I was hanging out with. Then he sent me a drunk voicemail telling me that he would never find anybody like me, which he's totally right about, and for me to give him another chance. This is when I had to make a really hard decision. I chose to block him, delete his phone number, and delete him out of my life. I decided to work on myself, so I started going to the gym every single day. A few weeks later, I'm on the treadmill and I see my ex walk in. He knew that was my gym and he signed up to it. I won't lie, I was really flattered. The first thing he did was come up to me and try to strike up a conversation. I really had to resist the temptation to talk to him. I told him that right now wasn't a good time since I was working out. I started seeing him every single time I went to the gym after that. I started seeing him at my gym every single day, and at the same exact times that I went. Like I said in part 1, our relationship had always been really toxic, so I wouldn't have put it past him to start stalking me. Even though I had done a lot of work to get over him, part of me still really liked him. Every time I would see him, I would get butterflies, and I was actually flattered by the fact that he was following me around, which I know sounds terrible. But every time he would try to talk to me at the gym, I would just politely tell him it wasn't a good time, which he surprisingly respected. So the gym I go to is actually pretty fancy. There's all these different classes, so I decided to sign up to a few. Well, the instructor of this class was really good looking. After every single class, the trainer would always try to talk to me. Every time he would pass by me at the gym, he would say hello and just talk to me. And of course, I would literally sit there and have 5-minute conversations with him, whether or not my ex was around. After about a week of me talking to the trainer, I get a message from my ex on Instagram. He starts asking me if I'm interested in the trainer, and of course I said no. I told him that he needed to leave me alone and stop watching me at the gym. That's when he confessed his feelings and told me that he was still in love with me, and that he would do anything to get back with me. Luckily, I stayed strong and told him that I needed him to respect my space. The following day when I saw him at the gym, he tried to give me a hug. It was super awkward and I actually told him not to. The trainer came up to me and asked me if everything was okay in front of my ex. My ex, of course, started telling him that he needed to mind his own business. I could tell that the trainer was jealous and I could tell that my ex was jealous. It was super awkward, but I felt really flattered. And it made me really happy that my ex was starting to see the value in me, although it is sad that it took this to make him realize it. Luckily, things didn't escalate, but my ex pretended to leave the gym. When I left the gym later on, my ex was parked next to my car waiting for me. He tried to talk to me, but I just told him I didn't have time. That's when he went in for a kiss. I turned my face away, but he grabbed me and kissed me anyway. He told me that he wouldn't stop trying to win me back and that I was the love of his life. Part 3 of how I got stuck in an elevator with my ex and we ended up doing the dirty. After he grabbed my face and kissed me, I told him that he needed to back off. He told me that he wouldn't stop fighting for me and that I was the love of his life. I got in my car and went home. The very next day, I decided to go to the gym earlier just to avoid my ex. But what do you know? 10 minutes after I arrived, my ex shows up too. I decided I would literally not even make eye contact with him just so that he wouldn't come talk to me. I did a 30-minute workout and I started heading out of the gym. To get to my car, I had to take an elevator down. I get into the elevator and as the doors are closing, my ex sticks his hand in. He comes in and asks me if we could talk. I told him no once again. That's when he pressed the stop button on the elevator. I didn't freak out right away because I didn't think the elevator would get stuck. I decided to give him a chance and I heard what he had to say. Basically, he told me that he loved me and that he wanted to try to make things work again. I told him that I would think about it, but he needed to let me leave. I pressed the button on the elevator, but it wouldn't go. That's when we realized we were stuck in the elevator. Neither of our phones got signal, so there was no way I could call the gym or anybody in the building to help us. Before I knew it, a whole hour had passed and we were still stuck there. That's when my ex started begging me to kiss him. I kept saying no, but that didn't stop him. He went in for the kiss and it just didn't stop. And, we did it. Luckily, someone let us out of the elevator a few minutes later. Long story short, we got back together after that. Now I'm having all these doubts. He's trying to be better, but I can tell he still wants to control me. I want to set boundaries with him, but I don't know how. Also, the trainer is still showing interest in me. What should I do?
Am I the asshole for not letting my ex pick up our daughter a day early so she can see her dog before it's put down? I, 29 female, have a 9-year-old daughter, Claire, with my ex-husband, Brian. Brian has Claire Wednesday through Saturday, and I have her Sunday through Tuesday. When we were together, shortly after Claire was born, Brian got a dog. This dog was not young then, 6 or 7, and now must be ancient. Claire loves this dog, and I've tried to indulge that as much as possible, and the days I have her, Brian will let Claire video call with him and the dog, which I think is a bit extreme, but to each their own. Brian contacted me this morning saying that he had to put the dog down tomorrow and asked if he could pick up Claire a day early so she could say goodbye. I told him I didn't want to do that and didn't think it was a good idea to go against court-ordered custody. And since he wouldn't watch her when I had a work emergency, I didn't see why this was any different. He said I was being overly dramatic and petty and cruel to not let Claire see her dog. I don't think I'm wrong because we've already set the standard that we're sticking to the court-ordered custody. But he sent me several text messages saying that I should let Claire be there and even told her what was going on, which, in my opinion, was overstepping. And I do not think it's right for him to contact her behind my back about something involving our co-parenting. Claire is also very upset with me now, and I'm wondering if I'm being an a-hole now that she knows. So, am I the asshole for not wanting to let him pick her up a day earlier than usual to say goodbye to their dying dog? Oh boy. Okay, the top comment coming in with 55,000 upvotes. Major, you're the asshole. What if a relative died? Quote unquote, oh, sorry, can't go to the funeral. It's not on the schedule. These are things that drive kids apart from the parents. Don't be the a-hole parent. Next comment, 23,000 upvotes. It's unfathomably cruel. She wants revenge on her ex. It's about control. Her spite is more important than her kid's emotional well-being. Am I the asshole for not replacing the delivery driver's shoes? Okay. This just happened a few hours ago, and I am still seething with anger. So I ordered pizza for delivery for dinner from a local place, a place my family orders from often. I got 2 pizzas for my family and waited for delivery. 25 minutes later, I went to greet the delivery driver at the door. I do have 4 dogs that are free to poop in the yard. So I have a sign that tells people to keep off the grass. I have the sign so people who aren't my friends or family stay off the grass in general. I don't want people who I don't know on my grass. especially considering it's been rainy and muddy the last few weeks. I never would have expected the delivery boy to walk through the grass. He did, and once he got to the door, he began complaining that he stepped in dog poop and that his new shoes were ruined. I looked at his shoes, and he indeed had dog shit on them. I shrugged and pointed to the sign that said to keep off the grass. I tried to hand him the cash and get the pizzas, but he refused. He told me I needed to pay for the shoes to be replaced as they were around $120. I laughed in his face. Thinking he must have been joking, I brushed it off and once again tried to get the pizzas. He didn't budge and told me that he was taking the pizzas back and would be back to get the money later. I was angry with what happened, but I made an alternate dinner plan and I let him leave. He pulled in again and demanded payment for the shoes, and I once again declined. My husband came to the door as well, on my side. I wasn't going to pay because the delivery driver was careless. While I continued to argue with the driver, my husband called the pizza place and put them on speakerphone. He asked to speak to whoever was in charge and was informed that it was the owner on the line. My husband let him know about the situation, but to our surprise, the owner sided with the delivery driver. If you don't pay my son for his replacement shoes, your address will be blacklisted from our restaurant. The owner clearly was angry as well. My husband ended the call and we decided to just ignore them and not eat there anymore. The driver was clearly not.
For the last 2 years, I have lived in a self-converted van that I built out with my dad and my brother. And COVID sent my med school online last semester and I had my season pass for the snow. So I decided, hey, move down there for the whole season and study from the slopes. It was a stellar semester. I either had class in the mornings or in the afternoons, even had a day off throughout the week, so I was just skiing and snowboarding every day. It was amazing. Now, I should mention, traditionally, I am a snowboarder. Maybe I should have stuck to the snowboard and I wouldn't be here, but YOLO, skiing is fun. You can go so fast. Now, the day of my accident was August 9th. It was a beautiful bluebird day. I had class all afternoon, so I decided to squeeze in a half day up at the snow, drove up the mountain, and decided to go with my skis that day. Oopsie. So it was the first run of the day, about 9 o'clock, caught the V8 chairlift up, and I was headed across to Mount Perisher, so I was going down to the Perisher quad, and I went past the terrain park, and it was completely empty, so I was like, hey, let's catch some jumps on the way down. Oopsie. So I go into the park, hit the first one of the big jumps, wasn't doing any tricks, sorry guys, didn't want to hurt myself on the first run, lol. Anyway, so I landed the first jump, easy peasy. I was approaching the second jump, which is considerably larger, and I had some considerable speed going. And this is where things get interesting. So I'm hitting the second jump. I get to the top, and I didn't have my weight where it needed to be. So I performed the world's worst backflip, and not on purpose. I caught a few meters of air, and while I was up there, I remember thinking, oh crap, this is gonna hurt. And that's the last thing I remember because a few seconds later, I landed directly on my head and lost consciousness. So I wake up on the snow and ski patrols around me and the people who saw it are all around me and they're like, dude, what happened? And I'm like, I guess I didn't land that jump very well. And they're like, can you get up? And I'm like, no, I don't think I can. And they ask, can you feel this? Feel what? And then they took my boots off. Can you wiggle your toes? Am I not wiggling my toes right now? And that was the moment I knew things probably weren't going well. And then a bunch of stuff happened after that. Let me know if you want to hear about it.
Okay, so in Egypt, there's something called an addaha. An addaha is do you want to explain?
It's like I don't know if it's a myth or if it's real, but like a lot of people say
it's real.
That they hear her calling their names from somebody else who they love's voice. So like let's say Mariam could hear me calling her name through her. So it wouldn't really be me, it'd be her calling Mariam.
And she would basically make you like walk all around until she like makes you walk off a cliff because you're like trying to search this person's voice, or she makes you like go into the ocean and you drown. Basically like you just hear somebody that you love's voice, like a relative or something, Anyways, so me and my brother, we were in my aunt's house and we were going to sleep over, right? And suddenly, like, we're playing cards outside, and suddenly we hear my cousin's voice, and he's like, Ahmed, Mariam, like, can you come help me real quick? I really need help. And I got chills all around my body. And my brother's like, oh, like, Muhammad's calling for us. I was like, no. And like, I poke my head out the window and I don't see anything. And I'm like, I immediately start reading Quran. I'm like, please make this thing go away. And like, she keeps on yelling for us. And I'm like, Ahmed, like, please. And he opens the door and he starts walking outside. I'm like, what are you doing? Get back inside. And this, I don't know if this boy was stupid. I don't know what's going through his brain. But he's like, Mariam, he's literally calling for us. He needs help. I'm like, Ahmed, I'm not, go ahead, I'm not going. And he's like, are you stupid? Come with me. Like, what if something takes me? I was like, you're missing the point. So anyways, this thing like keeps on calling for us. I swear to God, this thing called for us like 4 times. And I'm literally poking my head out the window. And my brother's like poking his head out the window. And he's like, hold my legs. I'm going to keep on going. Hold your legs. This is a drop. We're on the 2nd story. I'm like, this is that lady. She's trying to trick us again. This is the ghost. He's like, just hold me. Like, hold me. And I'm going to keep on looking out the window to see if he's like around the house. I was like, Ahmed, it's not worth it. If he needs help, he can find someone else. He wants the 8-year-old to help him. He can find someone else. Basically, what the gag of the story is, Muhammad wasn't there. I was asking her, I was like, where's Muhammad? Like, I heard him calling for us yesterday. He wasn't even there. You know where he was? He was at a friend's house. So that's my Nadaha story, and I swear this happened, and I am so scarred of it. So yeah.